Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 4 outlined an amazing concept that pretty much suggests there's never really a right time to get things done. Well, tell you what, church planting is definitely one of those things. And I'm surrounded by men and women who are involved in church planting to explore that for a couple of minutes. Go on, guys, let's go for it. Is there ever a right time to plant a church?
I think in human eyes, you go when God tells you to go. You know, we can have a checklist. We need to get this sorted and that sorted. But if God says to go, you go. For us, we planted in the middle of at the end of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, where everything was a complete mess. We had people telling us, wait till the end of the pandemic. Wait for things to be better. We started planting in the mess, and we met people in the mess. You know, and there couldn't have been a better time for us personally.
I think some of the stuff comes that we can run things in tandem. So we can move with some things that aren't prepared, but there are things we can always be doing in the background to get us there. So one of our big things was, if we're moving in the middle of a pandemic, what can we do at the same time? So setting up charity status, setting up bank accounts, getting trustees, getting policies and procedures, all that stuff can be running whilst you're following the calling of God, rather than saying, let's line all this stuff up, get everything ready. Because what it meant was we could saturate ourselves, even in the middle of a pandemic, through Facebook and TikTok and Instagram in a community, whilst at the same time creating a structure that made it possible that when lockdown ended, that we could do so much stuff. And we ran those two things in tandem.
That's good. I think what happens with a lot of people is that whole thing of analysis paralysis, that you spend so long going, well, I'll get everything right and focusing on all the minor details, and you end up doing nothing. And I've heard way too many stories of people like, oh, when we're ready, then we're going to plant a church. But in that gap, there are people who are going to a lost paternity who need you to step out in faith and actually go and do something. And so many times, like, we've planted 4 churches, but along those ways, we've never felt ready. Even though we've now got some experience in the bank, you still don't feel ready or prepared. But if God has opened the door, then we want to step through that at the earliest possible opportunity, because there's a world to reach. And so who are we to say, well, I'm not quite ready yet, God? It's like, no, come on, let's step out and be faithful in that, prepared, but also risking to step out in faith.
And the Bible says, my power will be made perfect in your weakness.
That's good.
And I think if we can consistently trying to make our power, you know, everything right, where's the faith? Where's the faith side of it? And I think in many ways the opportunity comes, and it came in our context probably the worst time. But it was the best time, because it made us really have to jump into that realm of faith. And we've seen amazing things. But faith's got to be at the forefront of it.
Because you can't be so prepared that you're not depending on God. There's got to be that dependence.
And I think the truth is that the enemy will give us 20 reasons or 30 reasons why not to plant a church. And if he doesn't get that reasons, sometimes our trustees and leaders will give us some as well. Even with us, you know, we just come through COVID, and half the church left, we've got another half come in, and it's like, you know, let's just settle the boat a little bit, you know. But God says, no, now's the time. And you know, and somebody came with a prophetic word. He said, God showed me a picture. He said, don't wait until all the ducks are in line. He says, because they're never going to be in line. He said, it's not until you start doing what God's called you to do that the ducks are going to come. So that's what we're doing.